Hey there, welcome to Modern Vegan Family. I'm Lisa Chell and you are in Chell's Kitchen, where today we are making veggie balls. Now I could write a cookbook just on veggie balls or veggie patties because there's so many different combinations that you can make with different beans and grains and spices. And so today we're beginning with one that has a combination of inspirations for me. I made a veggie patty one time that had a nice rice, millet, and sunflower seed base, so I started there. But then I started to add different ingredients until I nailed, I feel like I nailed the veggie ball that's going to really make my family happy. So far today it got lots of thumbs up. So let's begin with this really easy recipe. Of course, I always recommend that you use organic ingredients when possible. So I'm going to take about a medium-sized onion, throw it in my food processor. If you don't have a food processor, all of this can be made the same way. You're just going to have to chop and dice and use a potato masher for the beans. Everything else you'll be just fine. So just going to start doing that a little bit to the onion. Now we're going to add 1 cup of sunflower seeds. Now I'm going to add 2 cups of beans. Now today I happen to have cooked soybeans in my fridge. So I rinse them, I soak them overnight, then I cook them in my crock pot. Now you could use a black bean, black-eyed peas, a kidney bean, lima beans, anything. Experiment. I'm probably going to do this recipe many different times with different types of beans. This just happened to be what I had today. They're organic. And of course we're using about 2 cups. Ooh, my eyes, the onions. I don't want the paste to be too thick. Oh, those onions were really powerful. I'm going to start crying here. I don't want it to be too pureed, just enough to mix it up a bit. Most cans of beans, big cans of beans, you're going to end up with about 1 3/4 cups of beans, but because I make my own, I used about 2 cups. Always when you're buying beans, rinse thoroughly. Always when you're cooking beans, rinse thoroughly before, rinse thoroughly after. That's the secret to having better digestibility. I'm just going to stop for a second and address that. Is that if you have any issues with digesting whole grains or beans, it's always best, if you have the time, to prepare the night before, rinse everything, put it in water, soak it, give it a chance. The soaking helps it become more digestible. Rinse it thoroughly and then cook it. But of course, if you don't have the time, and sometimes I don't remember with my whole grain rices or beans either, put them in the crock pot or the rice cooker and I cook them anyways. But I do rinse the grains and the beans beforehand. So now you see we've got the sunflower seeds, the onions, and the beans in there. Now we're going to add 2 cups, and again, this was a whole grain mix that I really liked. I started with 1/2 cup of millet and 1/2 cup of brown whole grainy rice, soaked them overnight, and then cooked that 1 cup of grains in 2 cups of water until it was cooked. I made this in my rice maker, but you can make it in a pot. 1 cup of oats, 4 tablespoons of tomato paste. Now you may be wondering why my tomato paste looks so dark. It's because I buy dehydrated tomatoes and I rehydrate them and make my own tomato paste, but a good organic tomato paste from a can works just as well. 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast, also called nooch. 1/4 cup of Bragg's liquid aminos, or you could use tamari. 1 tablespoon of maple syrup. And then here are my spices. I have 1 teaspoon of prepared mustard, 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of chili powder, 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika, and 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt or a good quality salt. Put that all in there. Now of course we know anytime we make a ball it's best to just get in there with your hands and mix that all up until you get the right consistency. I washed my hands beforehand. Now I'm going to make the veggie balls about a teaspoon. I like to make them small. About a teaspoon of the mix, roll it into a ball, and put it on your greased pan. So I make nice small veggie balls. Now this recipe, if you make small balls, will make anywhere between 45 and 50. And what I like to do is make them, put them in the freezer, freeze them, and then bag them, and then I can take them out in small batches and cook them. When you cook them, cook at 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and they take about 25 to 30 minutes. So just keep an eye on them till they get nice and brown. And this is the beautiful looking veggie ball that you're going to come out with. So it's nice and crispy on the outside. It's got the sunflower seeds give it a little bit of a crunchy, meaty texture, and all the spices. I think you're going to love it. Put it on top of pasta or in a wrap or a sub. You're really going to like this veggie ball. So thanks for coming to Modern Vegan Family today. Please subscribe to the channel. Peace, love, and plants.